welcome everyone to the Blue Collar Startup Podcast. I'm your co-host, Mike Nelson, here with visionary founder of the Blue Collar Startup, Derek Foster. Hey, Derek.
Hey, Mike. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
Energized, excited to be back on the show here.
Absolutely.
And we are sitting with Vince. Vince, give me your last name so I don't mess it up. Lorenzo. Okay. Yep. Somehow I'm like known for butchering people's names. We had last episode was Guads, who I can only he's one of our clients now too, right? So, but I still have to say Guads because every time I try to say Guadagnino, I literally have to say it out like that, and it's not that hard of a name, Guadagnino, but every time I'm like Guads.
So much easier.
I don't know, man. So Vince, you're with Quick Response.
Yep.
Out of, is that technically Ballston Lake?
Technically Round Lake.
Round Lake.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lake over there somewhere.
Yep, small one.
There's a lake everywhere in this part of the country, I guess. So, Vince, tell us a little about who you are, what you do. What does Quick Response do?
So Quick Response is a full-service fire, water, mold restoration company, and we also have a full construction division, as Derek knows, from one of his rental properties, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we come in when you have unnecessary, water damage, a fire, puff back, any kind of smoke damage, mold in your attic, mold from water damage, or just mold in your basement. Generally speaking, we are doing 95% insurance work. Everything, usually a homeowner or commercial building owner is submitting a claim, and we're corresponding with, the adjuster, the insurance company, and we get paid directly from them. Myself, I'm 41, have 3 kids, all daughters, wife, girl dog, so a lot of estrogen in my house.
Hey, I'm a girl dad too. So.
I got 2 of them.
Yeah, live up in Saratoga, grew up in the area, Mechanicville originally, and lived down in New Jersey, worked in New York City for 15 years, moved back to the area, 2019.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now we were talking a little bit beforehand. You are second generation.
That's correct.
Just taking over the business from your dad a few years ago, you said.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my father, originally from Mechanicville, had a contracting business. We built houses he built houses. And around 1994, saw an opportunity in the restoration industry. I think there was only 2 restoration companies back then. And now there's like 100, but now he saw an opportunity. In 94, came up with the name Quick Response, which was phenomenal business name for our business. And he started it, grew it. Usual typical business growth, doing the right thing, doing jobs the right way, and building up a brand name. And here we are, 25 plus years later, and I came back up. Exited finance and financial world and came back to cleaning up messes in basements instead of on spreadsheets. So.
I should show you my spreadsheets.
So what were you doing down in the city in the financial world?
Yeah, I was actually in a full sales role. So I sold the data and trading systems that hedge funds use, traders, biggest mutual funds. I used to cover people from the like of Fidelity, Vanguard down in Pennsylvania, and your high-flying hedge funds that you read in the news sometimes. So it was pretty fascinating business.
Wow. So what made you come back? What was the interest?
With 3 kids, come up every year for Christmas and the holidays, and my wife's a New York City metro, lifer. So when I punted the idea past her, she was obviously not initially too receptive. So
but she agreed to Saratoga, though. I mean, that's it's kind of
it was either Clifton Park or Saratoga. It's about the only segue you can make after living down there for a long time. There's a lot of opportunity in the restoration business. Quality of life, obviously, with the family, not being on a bus for an hour and a half each way into your job every day, and being able to drive everywhere here. And there's a lot of consolidation in the restoration business right now, so there's a lot of opportunity for us to continue to dominate here and expand geographically, with hurricanes and just more regional, large commercial structure work. So
I have so many questions based off of what you just said. So My first question is, what are you doing with the 3 hours of your life that you got back every day? And my second question is the consolidation on the restoration business. What do you think's driving that?
Restoration business on the mitigation side, generally speaking, the profit margins are pretty healthy.
Yeah.
So you're seeing a lot of private equity money moving into the restoration business, and like ServPro is owned by Blackstone.
Yeah.
There's some of the largest.
Oh, the franchise itself, the parent company is?
Yeah, it's actually private equity owned, and I believe ServiceMaster is too. And,
no kidding.
And you're seeing even there's a Canadian company, I can't think of the name, but there's some real big guys, Western United States, Canada, Texas, that are not even private equity that are also acquiring. So they're trying to be everywhere in the country. So I think it's just the margins. I think it's the private equity coming in. I think it's the big guys just wanting to get bigger and gobbling up smaller shops.
Yeah. That's crazy. Well, good for you. You're like fighting the good fight then right now.
Yeah.
As a privately owned company, battling up against all these big mamma jamma BlackRock.
Oh yeah.
Those are evil people, man.
Oh yeah. They got a lot of money.
Yeah, dude, they're doing some crazy things. But I'll take my tinfoil hat off and put that to the side for right now, guys. And how about the 3 hours? What are you doing with
3 hours? Yeah, that's funny you ask. So when I first moved up, I drove to work. It was 22 minutes. And I'm like, didn't really know what to do. I'm like, wait, it's 7:00 and I'm here. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So I don't know. I guess I get a little more sleep and work longer in the office. So you just get more productivity out. I mean, I used to sleep on the way in. Actually, that took me a while because my body was so used to sleeping on the way in on the bus. Yeah. So like I'd be up, but I was kind of tired. I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm used to. I normally be passed out on the bus right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But coming home, I mean, at the end of the day, it's huge because now I head coach my middle daughter's travel softball team.
Nice.
Would have never been able to do that down there. That's awesome. So
yeah. I have to imagine just a completely different quality of life.
Oh yeah. It's just, I mean, with the kids, it's just game changing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, stepping in, second gen, I know that we've got listeners, that are in similar situations. And I know actually one of our periodicals, right? Periodical? Do people say periodical?
Sure.
One of our magazines, I don't know why I said periodical. One of our magazines, we're actually doing a whole series on second generation, multi-generation business. What do you think, stepping in, taking over, like what's one of the bigger challenges or one of the bigger problems that you ran into with that?
I would say parent-kid dynamic.
Yeah. I'm all too familiar.
Yeah, the family business stuff.
I mean, you have usually the founder, first generation.
Yeah.
It's their baby. They may probably, in our blue-collar world, most likely didn't go to college, so they eat, breathe, and, shit this business their whole life. They expect, they have a certain way of doing things, and then you have somebody like myself, second generation, that obviously has lived a completely different life. I went to a 4-year school. I went and worked in finance in New York City. I'm used to working with people that, are white-collar. And I'm in a blue-collar business, and, so I got, maybe different perspectives than my father would. So coming together and bringing those ideas and who's going to do what. But it's been working. But it's definitely a challenge. I'm sure every business, every, father, son, or daughter, mother, whatever the multi-generational dynamic is going to have a challenge. And, it's I guess you got to figure out that succession plan and try to work it out.
Try to figure out how to.
Yeah.
So, what did it look like for you when you were younger? Did you grow up in the business and work alongside your father?
Yeah. I mean, that's why when you would ask like how long you've been in the business, I was like, oh, my whole life. But
right. A little hiatus in there. I mean,
yeah, my father's always been like your serial classic entrepreneur, just nonstop work, construction. He's owned properties, so like, work is life, or life is work, whatever the right way to say it is. So I grew up just picking up garbage on the ground when the guys threw it off the roof because he wouldn't let me get on the roof when I was like 10, and I worked it, and then I actually started my own business when I was 16, seal coating driveways. When you talked about striping,
man,
I can relate to that one. So I kind of deviated. Every summer I'd come home from college and do the driveways, and all my buddies worked with me and for me. Whatever.
At 16.
Yeah. I got my license in March, and then that summer, started cranking.
So, was there any push from your father to go off on your own and try your own business, or how did that come about?
Yeah, he had properties that he would get sealed, and he's like looking at the prices. He's like, you should start one of these. I'm like, yeah. He goes, yeah, there's good money in it. I'm like, all right. I just started it. Filed a DBA or Lorenzo seal coating. Came up with a genius freaking name, and
hey man,
started going.
It worked.
Yeah. But by the time my sophomore, junior year of college, we were doing quite a bit and just making good money. Probably making better money than I am now. A lot of cash.
A lot of cash. Cash is nice.
Cash is king.
I'm sure you learned a lot from that experience.
Oh yeah.
And that's more valuable than anything.
To be honest, that was going down to the city when I did sales. I did regimented corporate training in sales with some good training, but what I learned going door to door, like guerrilla marketing sales from seal coating driveways, was the most valuable training I got in my life.
You are going to love Andy Frisella's podcast.
Man.
Yeah, he talks about the same stuff where he was like, but same thing, like just being young and the lessons he learned from having to go door to door to door and just talking to strangers. And, and it's funny because as you're saying that, I'm just like, that's the best training you're ever going to get. Like nothing's harder than going to talk to strangers that you don't know, you have no relationship with. And then you've got to try to get them to give you money for something, right?
Correct.
Like, hey, you don't know me, and you might think your driveway's okay, but it looks like crap.
Right.
$500.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From when you're 16, talking to a 50-year-ld.
Yeah.
I'm sure a shaved head receptive at the time. Tar all over you.
Yeah.
But it worked because, I think they appreciated that a kid was out there and, could communicate and we're doing usually work right down the road from them, and so it worked.
Wow, seal coating. There's a lot of money in seal coating.
Yeah, I was curious. I remember we used to charge 10 cents a square foot back in the late 90s. I think it's up to about 20 cents or more a square foot today.
It's got to be more. We had a quote for part of our driveway because our driveway, if the whole thing is, 2,000 linear feet long. It's just this huge wraparound thing. And somebody came in and it was like, started talking numbers, and just to do a section of it, wasn't even the whole thing. It was like $30,000 or something crazy. We ended up doing gravel. And just the gravel was like $12,000. There's just so much stone. Yeah, that's freaking crazy.
Prices are crazy right now.
Yeah, everything is. But you're going to like that podcast anyway.
I'm looking forward
to it.
I
just started listening to it.
Did you? Yeah. Now, did you go back to the beginning to MFCEO, or did you just like listen to the most recent
Some of the most recent ones.
Yeah. They're funny. They're great. He drops F-bombs. They all
very
do like
intense.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. He used to be screaming sometimes in the microphone, but super well done. Very well put together. He gets his tinfoil hat on a little bit as well. Quite a bit actually, but he's pretty educated too, though, in everything he's talking about. He's not like just talking shit. He's like, he spends a lot of time doing a lot of research and reading and being educated on what he is before he starts screaming into the microphone. But you should look at MFCEO though, the old stuff.
Yeah.
So I went back. I think I'm on like 150. We'll just call it. Maybe it's 135. I don't know. But the old stuff that he did starting back in 2015, awesome.
Now I have to check it out.
Yeah, awesome. really love his stuff. So, all right. So let's get back into quick response after that little sidestep. So, what do you think? So you made a comment earlier too about something with there's 100 there's 1,000 of you guys out there, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's every industry. Like I can sit here in this room, right? So Derek in cleaning, right? There's 1,000 cleaning companies out there. I'm in marketing. There's 1,000 marketing companies out there. Quick response, 1,000 companies like yours out there. What do you think? What do you do, or what do you think the biggest piece of your success is? Is it differentiating? Is it being the first one on the scene? Like I used to have a girlfriend that worked for ServPro years ago, and there'd be like a huge fire, and she'd be like on the scene as they're putting the fire out, like trying to figure out who the owner was, who the insurance agent was, and trying to get in there. I mean, what do you think it is? What's the deal? Well, first, I think we have done high quality work for many years, and as you know, or with the marketing business, word of mouth is paramount. Yeah. So that's number one. It's sustaining that high level for so many years and never coming off that peak. And it's challenging, but we do it, and it pays dividends if you continue to do it. That's number one. I would say number two is we have a unique business model. So if you went and bought a ServPro franchise tomorrow, they generally get all their work through the insurance programs. So there's Contractor Connection, Alacrity, these different insurance programs where that they'll get them through that, and they don't have to go get the business. It comes to them, and that's they depend on that volume. We're on zero of those programs. We get, I won't say we don't get any work from the insurance companies, but we generally get all of our work from the actual property owners. Okay. Because they know of our name. And to do that, like if you try to do that, it's nearly impossible. How are they going to, you open up XYZ restoration. If I have a flood in my basement, how am I going to know about you? Sure. But they know about us. And it's because, we do the Christmas event. We do a lot in the community. We've done phenomenal work in thousands and tens of thousands of people's houses, and they've told people, and they know people, and they got your magnet on the fridge. Yep. You guys do the magnets? We use Well, the fridges don't really. It doesn't work too much because they're all stainless steel, right? I know. Isn't that messed up? Like the side. Yeah. That's where I got all the kids' things from school right now. Is on the side of the fridge. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and I can personally attest they do top quality work. We had an issue. It was last winter actually, and I'm having flashbacks to it as we start getting into the cold weather. But I had a skating rink on a flat roof, the only flat roof I've ever owned, and water pouring in, and tenants called me, and I shot Vince a note, got right back to me, and they were over there in a blizzard. So, yeah. I was actually there personally. Yeah, you were there. I went because actually I had about 70% of my crew call out that day. And now I refer people over to them all the time. Yeah. And it's just I think the way it works is you feel a comfort level, and now they're a household name. You hear the commercials on the radio and everything, and it's just great all around branding. Yep. Radio. You like radio? My dad does. Oh, loves it. I like radio too, to be honest with you. Yeah. It depends. Like when people ask me, they're like, "Do we want to do?" When we're doing like an all-around strategy, I'm like, "There's definitely certain situations where I think radio is the move." Yeah. It doesn't have to be all digital these days. Yeah. We crank radio up quite a bit in the winter. Yeah. And TV. Oh, I bet you guys probably busted pipes and all that stuff. Yeah. I got to remember just talking to the microphone here. Sorry, everyone. The freezes, and God, I had that happen to my house I don't have anymore, but I had up in Saranac Lake. The freaking pipes froze during the winter. What a mess. The whole first floor basically had to get the flooring ripped up, and God, it was a mess. Yeah. I don't know who we used for that. In Saranac Lake? Yeah. Probably ServPro or PM Cleary, or there's one out of Plattsburgh. There's not many up there.
Oh, Leary.
Yeah.
Right? He's one out of
He's
Plattsburgh.
like a private guy.
Yeah.
He's an interesting story.
Yeah, I know his brother, Jerry. Yeah. Jerry Leary. If you ever hear this, Jerry. Don't worry, buddy. Yeah, I don't know the story about Patrick, right?
Yeah, he's been buying businesses like that are, like a plumbing. He's been going horizontal.
Oh, so,
yeah? Yeah. I think almost everything he touches outside of restoration, he's started one of those businesses from what I understand.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Is it good or bad?
I don't know. You have to ask him.
We'll see if we can get him on the show.
Yeah.
See what he says there. So branding's a big part.
Yeah.
Messaging, being out there. And again, I think that's something I try to talk with everybody about. I'm like, listen, you don't necessarily need to be on Facebook, but you do need to be seen often, right? Like it could be the magnet on the fridge. It could be the placemat at the restaurant. It could be hearing it on the radio. I think it's important to, from a branding and marketing situation, that you're everywhere they go, right? And they just hear it. And that brand recognition is huge. What do you think, 50 employees, I'm sure Derek can speak to this too. I've never owned a business that has that many employees. I think I topped out at like 20 at one point. How do you manage 50 employees?
I mean, coming from the corporate world, I try to take the best practices that people used to manage me. I mean, I try to treat everybody the way I want to be treated. And I mean, it's a family business, so
yeah.
That's the kind of culture we have. It's you're not a number. Everybody feels like they're part of a family, and you just treat people with respect and treat them fair, and just make sure everybody's doing their job and manage expectations and communicate, open lines of communication. I think it's pretty simple.
Do you, from a structure standpoint, do you do chain of command like the military? Do you have an HR department, or do you just kind of?
We don't have we don't have an HR department. We have one woman in our office who's a lawyer, and she's our quasi HR, I'd say. Nice. We don't have like a formalized HR department. We're probably on that cusp of where you may need one. I'd say if we were maybe another 25 employees, probably would have to get a formalized one.
Yeah. Yeah. And Derek, you guys have an HR department?
We do all that in house. It just gets to a point, you can't manage all of, especially in our business, you can't manage all of, the new hires coming in and get them properly onboarded and situated so they feel comfortable, have a good start, and you actually retain them. It's worth the money to have somebody dedicated to that.
Yeah.
Saving on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah, we're almost there, but I kind of do it. She does it, so we're still in that
team effort.
Yep.
So your staff, Vince, and we a common topic, especially these days, is finding new talent. In the workforce generally, especially in the blue collar trades, obviously aging out. And what type of issues do you foresee in the near future? And are you guys currently hiring? Do you have opportunities for people to come on and learn?
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for good workers, people that are motivated, and always will find a spot for somebody that's a good worker and wants to pursue a career in restoration or construction, either side of the business. It's definitely, I'm sure, as you see, it's very challenging finding people. Seems like the appetite of general population wanting to roll up their sleeves and do work is decreasing every year. And it's a challenge.
I blame all the Salt Life stickers for that. Every time I see one of those, that's all I could think of. I'm like, Salt Life. I'm like, what does that mean? Like just sitting around on the beach, not working, not doing anything? I would go nuts.
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that just me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
No, I'd go nuts. I wouldn't be able to do it.
You'd be all right with sitting on the beach?
You can have a Salt Life for about 2 days, and that's about it.
Yeah.
I'm the same.
You're always working on a vacation, aren't you?
Something always happens when I go on vacation. Mm-hmm. It never fails, and you got to be there.
I just said that to Chad actually this morning because he was getting ready to go out of town, go see his son's going to college down in Florida, so they're going down for like a week or whatever. And the last time he went out of town for like a week, we had just this whole shitstorm happen, and so then
he's leaving on Wednesday. We just restructured our whole company. Okay. And it's not 125 employees or even 50 employees. It's like 12 people that we had to like move around. We're doing some changes, doing all this stuff. And one of the girls just gave 2 weeks notice, which like threw this whole thing out. I'm like, oh man, I'm like, stop going out of town, man. Every time you go out of town, something like this happens. Last time he was getting ready to leave for like 2 weeks and we lost a reporter like 3 days, like the day before he was leaving and like 3 days before we had a magazine going out. It was a nightmare. Anyway, sorry. Go off that tangent.
It's all good. So where are you finding talent these days? Are you guys actively recruiting or?
I mean, if we have an immediate need, we normally just post it on Indeed. That's kind of our first go-to. We generally try to ask our current workers, do they know anybody? I mean, that's the best. But yeah, kind of those 2 avenues, yeah.
Have you ever worked with any of the trade schools that are out there?
We've had meetings with BOCES, but nothing formalized yet. And it would be good for our construction division. It seems like there's some nice synergies there, but we just haven't got it set up yet.
Okay. So for all of those of you out there listening, if you want an opportunity, there's plenty of them out there.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody that we've had on has said the same thing.
Yep.
As long as you're willing to work hard and do what you have to do.
Yep. It's money to be made. Definitely.
Where are they all?
The people?
Yeah. Well, no, I listen.
Probably on your farm.
Probably on. I wish they were on my farm. Oh my God! All the sheep, and did you see the picture of the pig?
Yes. Penelope.
I'll post it to our blue collar Instagram. I got a text message from a friend. Hey, I got a buddy that's trying to find a new home for a pig, like a pet pig. Now, I've already rescued 2 pet pigs. They're like these little pot-bellied mini pigs. They're like 100 pounds. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. I'm like, just bring them over. I'm like, but I don't have any time to like go get the pig. So you're going to have to deliver the pig to my farm, okay? So they show up like a week later with this 400-pound coon that legit, like, if it doesn't want to do something, like, it's not doing it.
And you're not moving it.
You're not moving it, no. So, like, right out of the gate, it actually just happened to me last night where all the sheep and the alpacas had to sleep together in another stall. Because, like, right now I have it set up so the alpacas have a stall and the sheep have a stall. And the pig, Penelope, decided she was sleeping in the alpaca stall last night. And the alpacas won't go in there with her. So, like, farm's in an uproar. But, yeah, so I'll put a picture up on Instagram of Penelope. She's quite the princess. But, no, I just mean, like, the staffing problem, not that it's a new problem, but there's a serious supply issue with regards to labor. And I don't think it existed in 2018.
Probably not to this level.
Like, and I'm just, and I know we keep talking about this stupid pandemic, but like, I don't understand that a society can change that much that quickly, that we all of a sudden have that much of a labor shortage. Like, people still have to eat. People still have car insurance. Inflation's through the roof. It's at 8-9%. Like, things are more expensive. People need to work to get money. Like, where did all these people go? I just don't understand.
I don't either. I have no idea.
We brought you on so you could enlighten us to this question.
If I knew
you have the answer.
Yeah, if I knew that answer, I don't know. Man. It's the younger generation too. It's a different mindset. Yeah. I know some people are trying to spin going, trade school, blue collar versus maybe going to 4-year, especially with the cost, what a 4-year college costs today and will continue. Yeah. So I think that's helping, but it's going to take time. I think it's shifting. I think younger kids are seeing, like, I go, be an HVAC technician and make $125,000 or whatever and have no debt and go to Hudson Valley for 2 years. Or I can be a
school teacher and make $40,000 a year and just be poor all the time.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And spend $160,000 on a bachelor's.
Yeah.
So it's got to change eventually. I mean, it doesn't make sense.
That's Chad. Say hello to Chad, everyone. So, And Derek, I'm sorry, you were about to ask something.
No, I was gonna add, and I think the stars are aligning a bit, and I think a lot of the youth now are starting to see what those decisions and the consequences that those decisions have created and what they are, and good opportunity for people to learn from that and maybe do something different. That's the whole reason why we started this thing.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities out there. You just have to be willing to work for it.
Correct.
That's how I started. I started in construction when I was 16 years old, and I did end up going the college route, but looking back, probably didn't need to.
No.
Had a good time, but other than that, I learn more every day by the mistakes that I make.
Yep.
That's where you learn.
Yeah.
So,
it's true.
I learned a lot.
Me too. So Vince, what's the next step for Quick Response?
Continue to grow here in this market. We're as I said, we're trying to get more regional. Continue to push towards the Hudson Valley, Catskills area. Right now we're about an hour and a half radius, because problem is you got to be able to get to somebody's property right away.
Sure.
So it's but we've been, pushing north, pushing south, a little west, not really east. Just continue to, build that network out. And usually if we're going, 2 hours, like went to post hurricane, what was the one down in Westchester in New York City recently? Flood, Ida?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we went down there and did a couple large churches. And just doing a little more strategic networking with, large property managers and, other restoration companies that are in those areas. And so, if there's large losses like that where people are, no, we're not just an Albany, based company. And we've been doing the hurricane work since Hurricane Andrew. So we know how to mobilize. So
sure.
So yeah, I think that's the next step to continue to move that needle on the expansion.
Nice,
exciting stuff. Any plans for another office location in the future?
Yeah, we've talked about it, but haven't pulled the trigger on it. And so obviously a lot to that and expensive, and we're making it work just out of where we're at, and we got so much property there. So, but at some point, if we did want to, push into like the North Country, Plattsburgh, you almost got to have a warehouse there just to service that market.
Yeah.
Same thing with South. So no, not yet, but it's we think about it.
If you're going to say one thing, or tell aspiring blue collar business owner, if you're going to tell them one thing about being successful, really in any industry, what do you think it would be?
One thing. Work hard. It'll work it out. Everything else will work out.
Yeah.
I think hard work and common sense and doing the right thing. It's three things, but I think that gets you where you need to go. To me, it's very simple. I don't know how businesses fail, and I guess they do, but just do the right thing, do a good job, and move on to the next job.
Move on to the next job, yeah.
Yeah. There's not too much time for personal life, but you gotta pick which one and try to balance it. And
I guess I don't know what's going on the other side of that wall. There's a lot of yelling. I guess it's.
So with that, what does a typical day look like for you?
For me?
You're saving 3 hours now. So.
Yeah, I generally get up 5:30, leave my house 6, to the office by 6:30. Usually leave 5:30. Head to Geyser Road, coach softball. Go home, eat, do it again. And then, my day can also turn chaotic quickly, as you know. We're on call, so if a big commercial loss, generally residential, we have it structured where I don't have to get involved after hours. But if somebody I know calls in or a big commercial loss, I got to go down. So it could be 7, 8 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night. You know, the Palace Theater called us the other night and got to go. So there till 2 a.m. Back up at 5:30.
A lot of late nights.
Yeah.
But everybody thinks it's easy.
It's not easy.
What do you mean?
The winter, it's easy to do it right, but it's not. It's exhausting. But the winter is the winter's nuts. I usually like 100-hour weeks, 90-hour weeks. Wow. Like this past January was insane with the cold snap we got. And we got the one Sunday we got 14 losses in. Wow. And they were all like sprinkler heads going off in commercial buildings, which are big. Yeah, you know, one of those in a day you get like 8 of those in 6 hours. And you got
14?
14 in one day, yeah.
You know what's crazy too is
incredible.
You got 14.
Oh yeah.
And there's other companies.
Yeah.
How many they get?
Yeah, we're not getting all of them.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's think about the craziness of how much that happens, the frequency with those kinds of losses. Like,
yeah, the weirdest stuff happens in properties that you would never expect until you're in the restoration business. It's like washing machine hoses coming loose and people leaving a sink on when they go on vacation. You know, just crazy. Mm-hmm. It happens though. It's because you scratch your head. You're like, you Google restoration companies in Albany. How many are there? Like, I think there is legitimately like 22 or so.
Oh, no kidding.
And you're like, really? Like, there's enough work for 22 restoration companies, and including us, who's fairly sizable, and a couple others that have been around, and then you get the franchises. But yeah, it's crazy stuff happens.
That's a lot of stuff. A lot of bad stuff happens.
Yep.
Bad stuff to everyone. So, if someone's looking for you, where can they find you?
Our website's pretty good. We got an active Facebook page too. Generally, it's best to just call us 518-899-7090. We have Gina answers the phone during the day, and we have an answering service come at 5 o'clock. We have managers on call. So if you have a situation after 5, you call our answering service. You hit 0. That's emergency. That goes to the service. That pages the person that's on site, and then we should have a crew at your property within the hour.
Nice.
No matter the day. We were at Saratoga Eagle on Christmas Day this past year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and one of their beer trucks started on fire outside of the building. Poured smoke into their whole distribution. So, you're guaranteed every holiday a big job.
Guaranteed.
Guaranteed. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's usually. Always. Every day. Guaranteed.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how do you find balance, with that? Because you got to have some balance, right?
Yeah. I don't.
No. Just keep it going.
What's balance, right?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tough. It's tough. I've been here 3 years. My wife could attest. There's not much balance. It's tough to take a vacation, as you know, you kind of talked about it, in this business, because you're 24/7. I mean, if it's just regular day-to-day jobs, we have a structure in place, but when the large losses come in, and it's just, you got to be there immediately. Mm-hmm. And you got to give that person the red carpet experience. And, if you call me with a referral, I'm going to make sure it gets done like top notch. And that's exhausting. But
I'm getting tired hearing you tell it, man.
But yeah, it's tough to find balance. Yeah. But I think if you start a business, you got to kind of expect that, right?
Yeah.
It's a trade-off. I mean, you get the independence. I mean, hopefully you start a business that's not like a restoration business 24/7. That's more transactional, I guess. But it's.
I don't know. I own a marketing company. You'd think you'd be Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, days off. No. Marketing emergencies. They exist.
Oh, yeah?
And they happen every effing day.
My phone, I'll get text messages at 9:00, like, "Oh, we forgot to we didn't communicate this stuff to you. We need to get it out right away." And I'm like, "Dude, it's 9:00. Like that Facebook post at 9:00 is going to make the difference, Yeah. But it does, man. I'm like, we're all just so we're just such messy creatures all the time. Like, I don't care what it is, and we try to put process in place to deal with it all, but there's just still, But I will say it's not 2 a.m. I'm not answering my phone. And any of my clients listening, I want you to make sure I'm not answering my phone at 2 a.m. because of a Facebook post. But it's not that bad. But yeah, owning a business, I think you trade one set of problems for another.
Yeah.
If I was an employee, I'd probably have some dick boss telling me to do stuff I didn't want to do because I'm I'm the worst employee on the planet, right? Like I would say I'm unemployable. It's true though. It's like, I mean, I had an example, the last job that I had where I literally was a consultant for a guy, ended up going to work for him. We thought it was going to be a great idea for me to go work. Turned out we worked really well together when I was a consultant. The minute I became his employee, our whole relationship changed. It was awful for both of us. It was 5 months of just hell for him and for me. And then we parted ways and we're still friends. But, I discovered that I am not meant to be an employee.
Right? Well, at least you discovered that.
Yeah, no, thank God. I mean, I think I was only in my mid-30s at that point, but I think some of us just are not meant to be employed by other people. And if you're struggling out there, maybe you should start a business. Maybe a blue-collar business. Sounds like there's lots of opportunity there.
I tell you, and I'm sure you see it, people can't get contractors. So to the blue collar, I mean, the construction world, most contractors are out like 9 months to a year. I mean, if you want to do something in your house, forget it. I mean, anybody that's good. So do you think
that'll continue?
For a while. I don't see any end in sight between the supply chain issues, the labor issues, and just the way the world is. No, I don't. Even if people flood the market and start businesses. I mean, there's so much demand out there to catch up to.
Yeah,
I keep reading a bunch of stuff that they're saying the home building market's going to slow down a little bit. It's so expensive to build houses. A lot of people are going to start turning to remodel their own houses, and that's I think it's just going to shift a little bit.
So in that situation, it's going to shift just over to remodel and renos and away from new construction. I wonder, because like I see on a small scale, I see with some of our clients, some of our larger clients, they're all starting to pull back on their marketing budgets. I mean, marketing's always the first thing to go, right? Mm-hmm. So we've been seeing it, and it's more of a slowdown. It's a tightening. Maybe do we need to do that video project right now, or can we push that off 6 months, or hey, let's take our ad budget down 40% or 30%, or or like even on the ad space side, mm-hmm. with magazines, we've seen like, hey, we're going to do a quarter page instead of a half, or we're going to do a half instead of a full. Like, so we're seeing that kind of stuff. I'm just wondering how other industries are seeing it. I mean, are you seeing it with what you do?
We're just like throughout the pandemic, it was a mixed bag. Mm-hmm. We had some people wanted to increase service, other clients wanted to decrease service, and you had to help them out and work with them. Yeah. And that's the only way to move forward and keep going. Right now, no, everything is still rocking and rolling. But we market pretty aggressively. Yeah. And we respond right away. I think similar to Vince, somebody calls me, I'm on it.
Yeah.
And it goes a long way, and people keep calling when you do things that way.
I just had a contractor call me for a website build. Said he called 4 people. I was the only one that returned his call.
Yeah.
It's freaking crazy.
Yeah. Did you get the job?
I don't have a check yet. So, stay tuned. Yeah. But
see, our business is interesting because we're recession-proof.
Right. It doesn't matter, especially when insurance companies are involved, right? Like that basement floods or those pipes break.
Fires, floods, and all that. Is, probably to your question earlier, what's the attraction? It's a recession-proof business.
Mine is not.
You're on the other spectrum.
I'm going to become rich on podcasts.
You're getting pretty good at them.
What's that?
You're getting pretty good at it.
Well, I do like 100 of these things a week now, so it's,
wow.
No, not really. We do. What a stupid thing to say.
We just gave you a compliment.
I know, and then here I go with a doo-doo. We also have Faces of Veterans, though, which is a nice podcast. I really like that one. We just launched that one through Glens Falls today.
Yeah, so I haven't listened to it yet, but...
Yeah, check it out. We've had some good guests. I mean, Justin Hall that we just had on was just super, super powerful, man. Kid's he's pretty banged up and went through some stuff and coming out on the other side and some really, really cool stuff. So we're looking forward to that one. That's, again, just interviewing veterans and hearing their stories. There's a lot of, I don't know a single vet that doesn't have at least a few crazy stories. And a couple of the ones we've gotten so far are pretty impactful. So, but we're having fun with that. So hopefully we'll push this one through. This one's going pretty well, I think.
We're getting there.
Yeah. Slowly and surely. All right. So, anything else? We miss anything? We're working off script and we're a little rusty because we took a couple of weeks off. So.
No, it's fine. I guess the one question I wanted to ask Vince, if you could give, a 17, 18-year-old some advice. You went the college route but you were already a blue-collar business owner when you were 16.
Yeah.
So, what advice after having that experience and then going to school would you give somebody today?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I would do if I was a kid today. I still would not deter kids to not go to 4-year college. I think the network, it depends what you want to do. And again, at 17, 18, it's hard to know what the hell you want to do. But it is expensive, but the network, I went to Babson College, which is number one in entrepreneurship and forever. That's why I went there. And just the network of Babson alumni that I can tap into, even from today. Like, if I want to go into a market, like, generally speaking, savvy business people, like, I can find somebody and say, hey, So I wouldn't deter somebody not to go into a 4-year college unless you're just going to party. I mean, that's a waste of time. But you can learn a lot. I think the network you build. But it's good. Like you said, I did it differently because I owned a seal coating business. So I kind of brought that mindset, and I knew kind of where I was going. And then you look at the trade school side. I mean, you can really get behind that too. I mean, I could get there's just so much opportunity, especially in like the HVAC area, and there seems like so much to learn there. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't have to treat that as like, I'm going to go get an entry level. You could get pretty sophisticated. Yeah. I mean, you could go work for a commercial HVAC company, and you almost be like a quasi engineer. To me that's fascinating. And if it only requires going to Hudson Valley for a couple of years and then just going and working, you're way, and then are you paying for college? Are you lucky enough to have a parent paying for college? I personally was lucky enough my parents paid for my college. If I had to pay, maybe I wouldn't know what, but or I would have went somewhere different. So it's, I don't know, it's tough. It's trying to. I always try to understand where I wanted to be in 5-10 years, which at that age it's really hard to do, and God only knows which girl you're gonna, find.
We were talking about that's hilarious. I moved down here. Yeah, it's before the mics were on.
But no, it's try to make the most educated decision. Weigh all your options. Put the pros and cons of each route, and try to figure out what's most important to you. Which is it money? Is it work balance? Is it independence? Is it, I don't know, chasing girls, or, shotgun and Miller Lights, or, whatever. There's a lot of options.
Shotgunning Miller Lights and chasing girls?
So I went to the Luke Combs concert on Saturday. It was a great show, by the way. My wife had got tickets a while back, and he shotgunned a Miller Light right on stage.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Threw her right down.
That's awesome.
Threw the can in the crowd.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's hilarious. After we're done recording, remind me to tell you about the brewery I'm starting so I can pay for my pig feed. Speaking of beer. Oh, that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming, man. Appreciate you coming on the show and coming up here and taking the time and spending the time with us and laughing at my jokes. And but more importantly, giving information to the next generation of blue collar guys and girls that are coming up. And that's really what this is about, is just trying to, reach down and help somebody pull somebody up to where you are. So, appreciate you coming up.
Thank you.
Thanks, and again, if people want to find you, how can they reach you?
Best to either go to our website, www.qrrestore.com, or if you have a flood or fire, call our number 518-899-7090, and we'll be out quick response.
Nice.
Awesome.
Wow, that's that's brilliant. It's in branding right there.
Yeah.
And you can find us at bluecollarstartup.io, and I think that's what we are on Instagram too, is bluecollarstartup.io. And then if you want to see pictures of my pig Penelope, go to chapterhouse_farm. I think that's what I'm so bad. I own a marketing company. I'm so bad at social media. It's just
you have too many to remember.
Oh my God. So anyway, thanks for listening, everyone. Derek, thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Derek, where can people find you?
DaigleClean.com.
Nice. The clean you need.
It's DAIGLE, but it gets the A and the I backwards.
Oh.
Yeah.
DAI.
Yep. Yes. DAIGLE.
And Derek's not on Instagram, but we're trying to get him on.
Neither am I.
I try to stay away from social media.
Yeah.
Me too. All right. Thanks, everybody. Next time.
Thanks, Vince.
Thanks.